Good blessed Tuesday afternoon. Today is Tuesday, April the 24th, 2020. The time being about 12:40 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm gonna give y'all a little tour of Raymond Lewis Ivy from when I first came down here in Charleston, Missouri, May the 3rd, 1996, to stay with my grandmother in that particular house right there on the corner of Boone and Vine, Flora Lee Ivy Scott, who since passed away. I met a lot of good people when she was alive. I'm out here, it's a beautiful day, 68 degrees. My grandmother introduced me to a lot of people. Miss Kathleen Morris, who stayed across the street in that house. Right next door, Miss Snowball. And then next door to her, Miss Riley. And then next door to her, Miss Margaret Jefferson. And then even going down on across the street there, Miss Peaches. Oh, and I forgot, in this vacant lot here is some people that should be recognized as historians here in Charleston, Missouri. This vacant lot here was the house of Miss Annie Davis. Miss Annie Davis had a daughter named Barbara Davis and a son named Johnny Davis, which they should be having their name on something here in town. I met all of them, good people. They went up against a force that people wouldn't normally go up against, and that was the racism here in Charleston, Missouri. And they went up against the Charleston Consolidated Schools, number 7 here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. The house is tore down now, but they went up against them because the school now is the Charleston R1 school district. Some of the people may not be there, but you know, it's still racism going on. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm just introducing some of the people that I met when I came down here. Good people, people that didn't see any fault in me, people that taught me a lot. People showed me the struggles that they had, which is some of the struggles I'm having now. But the difference in me and them, they had people that stood with them, and all these people that I'm talking about, they stood together. And then down the way a little bit, past the funeral home that you can see that where that car just moving, you had Miss Fleeta. She did a lot of babysitting for my children. And then we had Miss Frida Rogers. These was pioneers in this town. Then if you go down Vine a little bit, past the house here where my uncle and my auntie stay at, my dad's youngest brother and his wife stay at. If you go down a little bit more, you had Mr. Hugh Rod, the barbecue man, may he rest in peace. Then you go down a little farther, you would have Miss Horton, Mr. and Mrs. Horton. Thank God that they're still alive. Then you cross the street from that, you would have had Miss Alice Barnes, the place where I'm living at now. These was good people. And there was a bunch of other good people that I didn't get a chance to meet. You know, it was a guy by the name Mr. Honey used to hang out by Miss Kathleen Morris and Mother Barnes, and we used to go to different places. I went to different places with them. Sometime I was their driver. But I don't want to forget Mr. Leonard Boyd and his wife. This thing didn't used to be a track here. To the best of my recollection, Mr. Boyd, I believe his wife, and Mr. Boyd, it might have been some other people with him, but they put in the proposal for this track to be built. You would think his name, like Annie Davis and her daughter Barbara Davis and her son Johnny Davis, would be honored. You know, this is the name of the track now, the Lincoln Trail. Let me see. Sponsored by Mississippi County Heart Health Coalition, Mississippi County Health Department. But this is where Miss Annie Davis, daughter Johnny, son Johnny Davis, and Barbara Davis was they were segregated to this particular school here. C.F. Bowen was the principal there when my dad said he was going there. But this is the only place that blacks could go to school at the time. But I'm gonna go down to the next stage, y'all. Now this is the area I lived in. This is considered the southeast side. Matter of fact, I stayed right there where you see the handicap rails at. I stayed in this area. When I was staying over here, it was black and white people living over here. It was black and white people living over here when I was living over here. When I ended up getting married and my wife got pregnant, we end up moving on this other side over here. But these is considered some of the Charleston, Missouri housing projects. But those who claim that I'm doing something to my children's, you know, you can call DCF again, you know, if you want to. But then when my daughters and their mother got pregnant with my first daughter, they let us move to a bigger apartment right in this area here. Anybody that was in this area when I was living here, even I'm gonna tell you who else was living over here. One of the high-ranking white individuals, which I never seen him to be prejudiced. When his mother was alive, I think she passed away. May she rest in peace. But the corner, Terry Parker, he was living over here. His mother and his sister, all of us was living in harmony in this area. You know, what some people don't like, and I'm not saying all, what some white supremacists don't like, and what some sellout blacks don't like, that I was around here helping all the children. I would buy baseball bats. I would buy frisbees. I would buy baseball bases, gloves, and we had a nice time around here. But that's something that some of the people didn't like. Ain't nobody complained about me messing with their children's. A few times people called anonymous, claiming, telling DCF, but DCF got tired of coming and claiming that I was doing something to them. If you see right in front of me, I think sometime they might have my vehicle pinged because they go to dog catcher. They might think I'm coming looking for dogs and finna report it, but I ain't finna report it. I'm just showing some of y'all about these individuals that try to attack my character. They try to attack my character. I'm gonna tell you why. Every time I get ready to file a discrimination lawsuit, when I filed against the school, then somebody called anonymous and say I'm doing something to my children's. Now that I done filed it against the family dollar here in town, now you have a couple of individuals. I ain't gonna even mention their names. Y'all can see their comments. But brothers and sisters that know me in this town, white and black that know me in this town, they know I ain't messing with nobody children. If that was the case, children wouldn't come to me to get their bikes, tires fixed or fill up and for air. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's some of the things I've done. And I want to let everybody know I didn't do none of this with government grant money. I didn't do none of this with the aid or assistance of any of these groups or any of these preachers or nobody else. The money came out of my pocket. And then, matter of fact, back there on Rodney Street, I used to have a Bible class, Bible study with a bunch of people up there. And one of the brothers that lived over there, and he'll tell you, he became a preacher. And I'm going to show you something else right down the street here. At this Shining Light church here. Those of you brothers and sisters that know what it used to be before. What it used to be before, it was what the people call the underground. It was a piece of tin and part of a building just hanging apart. But you had brothers and sisters, that's what they gathered at. When I was younger, some of us gathered in certain places. You see what I'm saying? But they used to call it the underground. And the underground is where they did their little drinking, had their little gatherings. And then after a while, it was sources didn't want them in there. They seen a way of making money. Now, this building across the street here, the Shining Light Church, it used to be the underground. At least little piece of tin hanging on a building about to fall down. Brothers and sisters used to do their little drinking and stuff in there. And eventually, people got together. They built this. They run them out of that. Then they went across the street here. It used to be some trees up here in a building back there where they can hang out at and do the same thing they was doing across the street. They called it behind the tree. All them brothers and sisters, I used to come and witness to them, and finally they allowed me to take them to a church that an outreach center that I was going to in Libron, Illinois, Missouri. And didn't know other preachers come up in there. I used to take them to church. Then I used to take them when Ryan was here. I used to take them to go eat. I'm going to take you another place in a minute. But remember, I didn't use no grant money. And we still waiting on some of my critics, one of them who said that they are kin to my two children. We waiting on the for their response to tell us why they didn't rescue my daughters when they was in distress up under his other kin folks for 70 days and 70 nights in the streets. But I'm gonna show you something else in a minute. Now we coming up now to the Mississippi County jail, same as the sheriff's department. But I stayed 5 months in here from 2001 to from April of 2001 to I believe it was September of 2001. But while I was in there, the then sheriff allowed me to have my own cell and then allowed me to come out and have Bible study with the other inmates. He set me down because I was rebellious. He set me down because I didn't know at the time that the sheriff's department and the police department wasn't on the same page. You see, the then chief of police, the lieutenant of the police department here in Charleston, Missouri, which is the chief of police now, Robert Hearns, put some charges on me that he falsified a police report. And at the time, I thought I can trust a public defender to represent me properly, but he didn't. And then the state's attorney was a big time farmer. Family was a big time farmer, so I didn't have no win. But anyway, after my 5 months in there, the then sheriff allowed me to come back in and witness to the rest of these inmates in here. I did all that for free. That's just a little something that I used to do, y'all, and still do. Peace be still.